today's headlines. Now we'll take a short commercial break brought to you by SensiHeal.
Are you sick and tired of these old wound dressings that just won't work? Are you tired of having to pay a nurse to come in and check the status of your wound? Are you unsure of the best time for you to change your wound dressing? Are you tired of getting these infections over and over again? These aren't working. This isn't working. These aren't working. This isn't working. This isn't working. This isn't working. How are you supposed to deal with all of this?
Introducing SensiHeal.
Old wound dressings require a subjective opinion as to when it's appropriate to change the dressing. This can sometimes lead to unnecessary wound dressing changes and can often lead to a lot of pain and discomfort for the patient.
I think it's time for your wound dressing change.
What? Are you sure about that?
Well, I don't know, but let's check.
Ow! 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 Ow!
I think it's infected.
Are you tired of old and ineffective wound dressings? Does the risk of infection got you down? Put those infection-prone dressings where they belong.
Introducing SensiHeal.
Here at SensiHeal, our top scientists and engineers are dedicated to research and development. Providing top-quality moisture and pH sensors at competitive prices, SensiHeal ensures that you and your loved ones' post-op wounds heal as quickly and as safely as possible. pH levels in the wound environment can indicate whether or not the wound is healing properly and on time, and it can also indicate if there is or is not an infection. Moisture balance in the wound bed is also very important. Too much wound moisture can cause a buildup of wound exudate, which can increase the risk of infection. Too little moisture is not optimal for a wound healing environment. It can slow down the wound healing process and increases the risk of scarring. SensiHeal helps us monitor the pH and moisture levels in a wound bed real time, which prevents us from having to making subjective guesses as to what the conditions of the wound environment are, and it also reduces the amount of times that we inappropriately need to essentially look at the wound, and which subsequently increases the risk of exposure to outside elements that would increase the risk of infection.
Hi, and we're back with Janice Picard. She's from the SensiHeal team, working with them on research and development. Hi!
Hi, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction.
No problem. So tell me about this smart dressing you got here.
Well, as you mentioned, this is a smart dressing, and it's comprehensive because it has microsensors that are embedded within the bandage itself. And these microsensors, they will be measuring pH and moisture levels.
And what's this?
This thing right here is the sticky transmitter that integrates information from the microsensors, and via Bluetooth technology it will receive the information from the transmitter, and the data will be displayed graphically onto the patient's smartphone app via an integrative application. So you can see right here when we turn on the application that there's the wound right there, and it will give you multiple pH and moisture levels, along with a notification on whether you need to change your dressing or not.
Okay, so this looks kind of small though.
Mm-hmm.
So what if I cut my leg open?
Oh, well, don't worry about that because this bandage will come in all shapes and sizes.
Cool.
We also have here two other representatives from the SensiHeal company, Sally and Jessica.
So Sally, can you tell us more about the strengths of our product?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that SensiHeal is differentiated in the sense that it provides both pH and moisture level information, as opposed to other dressings out there in the market that only focus on one type of biomarker. There are dressings out there that only focus on the pH levels or only the moisture levels or maybe the temperature, but what SensiHeal does is it combines pH and moisture together, which I think makes it differentiated and makes it much more useful. Jessica, would you like to tell us about who you're selling to?
Oh yeah, so we will be selling to anyone over the age of 18 with no history of chronic wounds with class 3 and 4 wounds.
Oh, okay.
Recovering from surgery at home.
Right. And How do we know that, the problem of post-op care is actually something real and something that people are suffering from?
Well, actually, in 2002, the surgical site infection rate was 20%,
Okay.
and in 2011, it was around 21.8%.
Wow,
So
that's
it's
increase.
it's a recurring problem, right?
How are people going to benefit from this?
Okay, so class 3 and class 4 wounds. A class 3 wound means it's contaminated,
Okay.
and a class 4 wound means that the wound is dirty.
Okay.
So these patients, they require their bandages to be changed regularly, and they need to be changed on time. If they're not changed on time, then infections are like inevitable.
Obviously. Okay.
Yeah, so catering for these patients is a good choice. Yeah,
Cool.
Thank you so much, Sally and
The
Jessica.
bandaging system costs the United States government $3.6 billion. With current wound care management, the only option we got are these gauzes and bandages that claim to monitor our wounds. We got these so-called apps that claim to distinguish our wounds from others. However, how do we really know they're made for us? With SensiHeal, we have the state-of-the-art de novo technology monitoring both pH as well as moisture, and our competitors, well, they just don't cut it.
But don't take our word for it, just ask some of our customers.
SensiHeal has been an absolute savior. This was my first time having a surgery, and to be honest, I was extremely scared. Post-op care was a big concern for me since I live alone. But when I heard about SensiHeal, all my fears were resolved and all my questions were answered. The cool thing about SensiHeal is that it has pH and moisture microsensors embedded right within the dressing itself. So it gives me a clear picture of the wound and whether the dressing needs changing again, and obviously prevents me from getting infections. Thank you, SensiHeal.
When I heard about SensiHeal, people talked a lot about the bandage system. However, what I really enjoyed about this product was the app system. They give you a state-of-the-art image of your wound as well as an indication of both the pH and the moisture, which assisted in indicating the progress of my wound changes. It assisted me in seeing the progress of my wounds both in pH as well as moisture, and I didn't even have to know much about science technology behind it. It just gave me an indicator when I need to change my wound, which is a great thing, especially when I'm at home in bed.
And there's more where that came from.
I had a surgery with a high risk of post-op infection. SensiHeal helped me take the subjectivity out of wound dressing changes.
Thank you, SensiHeal.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you later.
We're rolling. Welcome back to ABCD News. Now let's head on outside to check with our latest weather forecast. Thank you for joining ABCD News outside. And now, as you can see, it's quite sunny, and there's a lot.
Go SensiHeal!
We look around and there's a problem that we see when we investigate medical industry. Post-surgical wounds aren't getting proper care, costing governments more than everybody's fair share. Swollen, infected, getting amputated. Do you really want to just sit back and say that's what your fate is? So here we propose to the problem a solution. SensiHeal Smart Dressing, a substitution to the old bandages which just sit there, but you still need to get an RN or take great care of your wound because there are an awful lot of criteria: moisture, pH, humidity, bacteria, and still a lot of people end up getting worse and they find themselves depending on a nurse. You think, is this even real? How are you supposed to feel? We'll tell you how to deal with SensiHeal. Now hang on and let's take a second and we'll talk about product regulation. People act like we're just trying to push the product through, but we're thinking of our client, we're thinking of you. And this is kind of like some things you might already see, like Vital Connect, Health Patch MD. In fact, we use that as our predicate, and between you and I, they already ran some tests. So all we have to do is sit back and wait until the FDA calls us and tells us we're great. So don't wait for your infection to be foul. The time for healing is right now. Our Class 2 medical device, it works so well, it'll change your life.
So what are you waiting for? You're at home trying to heal from your wounds all day anyway. Why don't you pick up the phone and make a call that'll help you and your wounds in the future? It's easy.